Welcome back everyone to another episode of The Road Chose Me. My name's Dan, and on today's episode we have a lot of distance to cover. The roads are bumpy, the roads are dusty as we cut across the Gulf of Carpentaria. So I'll show you on the map where we are. We're cutting across now from way up here in the northeast corner where we were on the telly track. We've driven down and now we have to cross. This is called the Gulf of Carpentaria, this ocean in here. We're going to drive all the way along here on a road called the Savannah Way. We'll leave Queensland, we'll drive into the Northern Territory, and we're going to get over into, well, Humpty Doo, Darwin, Kakadu, all the amazing national parks over there. But for now, let's put down some distance and find some highlights along the way. To kick off the adventure, we head straight to Innot Hot Springs. This place is a bona fide hot spring, and it does have concrete pools and really nice different temperature areas, but you know me, I'd much rather the wild version. So this is us soaking at sunrise, where people have dug out shallow little soaking pools in the river gravel. It was absolutely spectacular. Water comes out at up to 70 degrees Celsius, so it is plenty hot enough, and once you mix it with the river water, you can find the perfect temperature. For anyone that's seen Crocodile Dundee, does that look like Crocodile Land or what? Every part of my body screams don't go in there, and yet that's what we're about to do. So to kick things off here in the Gulf country, we are at Lawn Hill National Park, also called Bajura, I think. I don't know how to pronounce that. And you can see we've rented a canoe for the afternoon because check this out. Look how beautiful this is, canoeing down this pristine river. And of course, don't forget, there are definitely crocodiles in here. But the crazy thing about Australia, there's two different kinds of crocodiles. There's saltwater crocodiles. They're the big ones. They eat people. They are absolutely not to be messed with. But then we have ones called freshwater crocodiles, which are a lot more like alligators. They're a bit smaller. They have the big long snout, and they basically never mess with people. Although there is a sign back at the visitor centre that says don't swim at the waterfall because the freshwater crocodile that lives there has been messing with people lately. So we definitely can swim in here, we are canoeing here, and there definitely are crocodiles in here. But supposedly we're going to be okay. So we'll let you know how that goes. But in the meantime, we're going to canoe down this canyon and see what we find.
Here we are, Dan paddling canoe.
Good morning, everyone. Here we are cruising along the Gulf, and we've been putting in some really long driving days because the distances out here are just enormous. 7 or 8 or 9 hours of driving. And then you can see this is the wild camp we found last night. And so we're literally 200 meters away from the road, and this was our camp for the night. So we pulled in right at dusk and actually really nice orange glow sunset. And so you can see it's kind of like, I guess it was an old dry kind of lake creek bed thing, whatever you call it. But it's enough of a clearing for us to stay for the night, good enough. Just gonna have a hot drink and some breakfast and get back on the road. And as you can see too, the flies have found us again. So we're heading back into the fly region of Australia, which neither of us are particularly excited about. But here we go, cruising along the Gulf. Distances are enormous, the roads are dusty. Let's go for it. So here we are, guys, we're bouncing along this pretty corrugated rough road, and we're just approaching an enormous dust cloud, and it's basically impossible to see what's happening, and I can tell basically we're following a big truck. And up here in the north, Australia has road trains. They can have up to 5 like 18-wheeler trailers on the one truck, so it's like 5 trucks in one. And so you can imagine the dust cloud that they throw up. And obviously I can't overtake this guy, even though I want to, and I'm going faster than him, just because I can't see a thing because of the dust. And so that's where the radio comes in really handy. So not only is the radio a legal requirement for some of the desert crossings that we've done here in Australia, it also is going to really help us out in this situation. So I should be able to radio this guy, tell him that I'm behind him and I want to overtake him, and with any luck, he's on channel 40, which is like the public kind of road channel in Australia. Pretty much everyone who drives around just leaves their radio on 40, and then he'll be able to tell me if there's any oncoming traffic, and I should be able to get around him. So let's see if it works. Let's try and get him on the radio. Thank you, Katie. Calling the truck heading west on Savannah Way that just came through the river crossing. Are you on the radio? We're on 40. Maybe he's not on the radio. Yeah. Calling the truck on Savannah Way, heading west. Are you on radio? All right, so that didn't work. Not much I can do. I'm going to be stuck behind this guy. Katie, maybe do you want to spin the camera around and we'll just show you guys how dusty it is. I think I'm still probably a few hundred yards behind this guy, and that's how dusty it is. So you can tell it's very, very hard to see what's going on, and I'd be crazy to try and overtake right now. It just isn't possible. Here's a different truck on a different road, and this one's paved so you can actually see what's going on, and this guy did radio back to say it was all clear to overtake. So check it out, guys. I've wanted to show you this for a while. We've come across a big section of bull dust. This is what it's called in Australia, this stuff. And this is dust. This is like so fine, it's like talcum powder. Have a look when I stand on it, it's just fluffy and light and extraordinarily fine. Yeah, like talcum powder. So this stuff gets everywhere. It just kicks up in huge clouds of dust. It's really notorious. And walking on it, it's kind of like a non-Newtonian fluid. You can feel it moving around in really strange ways. I'll give Katie the big thumbs up and she'll drive through, and we're gonna get absolutely coated in dust right now. But I'll show you guys what it looks like, this bull dust stuff. It's incredible. Australia is really famous for it. And I think too, this kind of dust, if it was wet, this just turns into like really sloppy mud, really, really nasty stuff. Versus obviously right now it's super dry, so it's just fluffy powder. And it definitely gets everywhere, this stuff. So here we are in the middle of the Gulf. Katie and I are exploring this place called Lorella Springs. And this place is really famous. It has a whole bunch of cold water, fresh springs. It also has hot springs, one of my favorite reasons to get out into the wilderness and explore. And so here we are, Katie and I have just come to this one. This is called Pandana Ridge Hot Spring. And so you can see there's kind of a stream here. The water's coming out of the ground, we think at about 50 degrees Celsius, so it's good and hot.
These are pandanus trees, which is why it's pandanas.
These are pandanus trees, which kind of like big ferns with these really spiky leaves, the ones that really grab your fingers. And so you can see it forms into this really big pond, which is pretty nice. I like it, but it's really murky. Not many people get in, obviously, and so there's a lot of like accumulated gunk kind of built up. So we're just trying to evaluate, would we camp here or would we go elsewhere? I'm gonna rate it like a solid 5 or 6. The camping here is perfectly adequate. If we spun the Jeep around, we could literally be camping footsteps away from our own private hot spring. And what I would probably do is spend about an hour with the shovel and try and clear out all the muck and then, you know, make it soakable for tonight when the temperature drops. So we'll see. This is our backup plan because down the road, there's another hot spring. So here it is, guys, check it out. This is called Nudie Hot Spring. And I tell you what, it might not be the best hot spring I've ever seen in my life, but it is pretty epic. So the water there is maybe like 40 degrees Celsius here down in the main pool. And me being a hot springs fanatic, I have already been way up to the end. There's kind of a big rock chasm thing where water's coming out of the ground. And up there, it must be more like 50 degrees Celsius or something. And you can see it's plenty deep enough. We've already just been soaking for about half an hour. And as well as that, we've decided we're gonna camp here tonight. So we are camping at our very own personal hot spring, which is always a mission of mine, always a goal of mine. I have to say I'm pretty happy about that. And I have to say too, it's funny, before coming on this trip, I genuinely didn't know that Australia has wilderness hot springs. And here we are, we're in Lorella Springs, and there are quite a few of them here on this property, and there's more yet to come. So yes, there genuinely are wilderness hot springs. You can tell I'm excited. So for the afternoon, we're gonna relax a little bit. I'm gonna soak some more. I'm gonna have a look around. Let's see what new adventures come tomorrow as we continue around the Gulf. So this is a pretty nice spring to be swimming in. It's cold, but on a day like this, that's what I'm looking for. Goanna. Check it out, guys. This is where we were just swimming and a goanna just came out of the water. Check it out, this is an awesome cave I just found. It's huge. Wow, it's not until my eyes adjust I realise how far back it goes and how deep it is. Don't see anything living in here. I don't see any bats or anything like that. No cave paintings on the roof, although it seems like the kind of place I would live if I could.
So here we are in Northern Australia, in the Northern Territory, and it's hot out. It's about 34 degrees. And you guys probably know by now, I love Australian animals, and Dan and I have some pretty cool nieces and nephews, and so we've been mailing them postcards of all the cool Australian animals, so I'm always on the lookout for mailboxes. And you might be thinking, wow, this looks like an airstrip. This doesn't look like a post office, but it's actually a mailbox. Because here, up in the Northern Territory, it's so remote, the mail's actually delivered. They call them the posties. They come by airplane. So tomorrow is Thursday, and tomorrow the mail is getting picked up. So in a couple weeks, our nieces and nephews will hopefully get these cool letters. Yay!
So as we explore around out here, we've learned about this region of a national park called the Western Lost Cities. And it's actually restricted access, so this gate is locked. We just went to the ranger station, we got the code, we're signing in. This is like 4-wheel drive only, blah, blah, bring your own water, must be self-sufficient. Apparently the road's pretty rough. It's gonna take us like an hour and a half to go not very far to get out to what should be some stunning, stunning rock formations. So Katie's just signing us in the logbook right now. We've got the code to be able to open this gate. And then let's go and find out what Western Lost Cities looks like. We've heard this place is incredible. Check it out, an hour and a half later, here we are. This is the Western Lost Cities. Look how beautiful these rock formations are. This place is stunning. I had no idea. These rocks, these are all sandstone we were reading, and they've all been eroded at different times, and the different colors kind of got to do with how much the sun has been affecting them and how long ago they eroded away. Wow, this pillar's like 10, 15 meters high above me, this huge big arch that I just walked through. There's Katie way down the bottom for scale. This place is absolutely incredible, and we have it all to ourselves. Nobody else is out here. So we're gonna wander around for the next hour, have a really good look around. Western Lost Cities, if you're ever driving across the Gulf, don't miss this place. Check it out, guys, just ran across the road in front of us, water buffalo. So these are the first ones we've seen in Australia. There's looks like a couple of females, a baby. Oh, there's more. Maybe drive up, Katie. On the right, there's tons of them. So I don't actually know if water buffalo are native to Australia, or I have the feeling they were introduced. I don't actually know, but there are many, many hundred thousands, millions of them up here in northern Australia, and they cause a lot of damage to the landscape. Yeah, have a look there. I mean, they're buffalo, but water buffalo, kind of same as the ones they have in Africa, I guess, same idea. Oh, the little baby one's all fluffy. He's a lot more scared of us. The big male guy, he's pretty big. So there we have it, everyone. We have driven clear across the top of Australia. We have finished driving across the Gulf. And so now we're in about the middle of the country, east to west, and we're gonna go right up to the northern tip in Darwin. Before we do though, we have one more incredible site to check out. Have a look at what's behind me, yet another thermal spring. So we're in a place called Mataranka, which is a little bit south of Catherine. This is Bitter Spring. Just nearby there's Rainbow Spring. There's also a Catherine Spring. These things pump out about 30 million litres per day of thermal spring water. This water's at about 24 degrees Celsius, and you can see, 34 degrees Celsius, and you can see the water is crystal clear. When the sun comes out, it actually has this like bluish iridescent tone to it. It is incredible. And the thing here is there's quite a bit of current moving. And so you get in at the far end, I'll go down there and show you in a second, and then you float all the way down to here, just getting pushed along by the current. Check out the color of the water. Place hardly makes any sense. How can it be so beautiful out here in the middle of what is essentially the middle of nowhere in the desert? So this is Mataranka Springs. Feels like a great way to finish off our time crossing the Gulf as we move on to new adventures. So thanks again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, do hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Adventures continue as we roam across down northern Australia in the top end. And if you'd like to get more content behind the scenes, if you'd like to just watch these videos without ads, if you'd like to support what I do, check everything out over on Patreon. There's a link down in the description where you can support me and you get a whole bunch of behind the scenes content. So until next time, have fun out there, and maybe I'll bump into you on the road. And in case you were wondering, we can confirm this is in fact a bull and not a cow. They spared no expense when they built this thing. I think that's to scale, but it's hard to say for sure.